So let's start with the obvious question. How fun is it for you to rewatch this video?
I'm like, well, it's different every time depending on who's in the room, because. But no, I'm really proud of it, how it came out. It was a very intense, bizarre recording because it's very different acting with the puppet opposed to a human.
You don't say.
So there was sometimes like during the shoot, I was like, how's this gonna translate? Like, I don't know if is this an okay thing that I'm doing? But yeah, I'm really excited with how it turned out. So yeah.
Awesome. So we are here because obviously you are on the eve of releasing a brand new album. What does it feel like to sort of be on the other end of what has been an extremely ambitious sort of 4-part project with 4 chapters to these albums?
I mean, it feels really crazy that it's already been a year since Ladywood, and that, you know, finally these 2 chapters are coming out, because, you know, my plan wasn't to wait this long, but I kept rewriting and changing and adding. So that's why, you know, I gave it its own name, Blue Lips, because I just felt like it is the final chapters, but it is also like a standalone album on its own. But I'm finally happy to share with you guys. It's about time, yeah.
So on Ladywood, we had these 2 chapters where it sort of went from this huge adrenaline rush of meeting somebody and then also, you know, the demise of those feelings.
Yeah.
Where does this story pick up for anybody who hasn't heard this record?
I think it kind of like it picks up again at the same start. So no, I think it's in a way. What happened was, you know, what I did do is I changed and rewrote a lot of the songs on Light Beams, which is the first chapter of this record, and Pitch Black has stayed the same. Whereas Light Beams is kind of that second rush, you know, the kind of last hurrah of something that you might feel is ending, so a lot of the responsibility kind of goes away. But I had to add in a lot of new songs with just that kind of naive, no consequences, everything is amazing and is going to stay amazing with this person, you know, nothing can ever go wrong, no matter what we do, because that's where I'm at now right. in life. But Pitch Black is, you know, the kind of the final sort of come down and realization that, you know, things don't always work out the way that you want them to. And I guess, you know, for you who are involved and knows every song, you know, you can, I would say, listen to the album backwards, because it will give you kind of the actual storyline of my life at the moment, I guess.
Well, what has it been like? Because that is interesting. You know, you started writing Ladywood about a breakup that had happened right prior to that album.
Yeah.
Now you're in a new relationship, a different relationship. What is it like to revisit some of that music years removed from it?
It's honestly trickier than I thought, because it was kind of, you know, though a lot of the songs on Pitch Black was written, you know, during my like most vulnerable and just like I will never heal, I will never find love again kind of emotions, and like listening to them now, you know, and kind of bringing them back up, because obviously I've been touring like crazy and writing on the road and then getting into the studio and recording most of it, and some of the songs I had fully finished, you know, from Pitch Black, and I'm bringing them up and listening to them, like I can hear in my voice how I was feeling, you know, and even though I feel like I've moved on and I'm in a new place, it's so crazy to just be like kind of jolted back into that state of mind and just like, man, I was going through something.
Right.
But it's also amazing to feel like, oh, you can actually, you know, I'm fine, you know, you can work through it, and kind of like whatever it is, it will be okay, sort of.
How did you know that some of those songs needed to be maybe reworked or replaced, like instead of just putting it out as is?
I think only because of how I was feeling, and I wanted to add some of the like inspiration and vibes that was very current to me, and I think that was mainly it. And I was having just a lot of fun in the studio and kind of playing around with genres and especially sonically things that I haven't really tried before, like Discotheques. I think is kind of a new vibe for me, and I thought I had a really fun time writing that song, and I was like, this is still me, but it's a very different side, and I want to, this is the state of mind I'm in right now, so I want this to be the first song out as well.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because it is also the first single and literally the first song on the record.
Yeah.
What about it connects with you so strong where you're like, this one has to be what people hear first on both counts?
I think because it's the most recent song, and it's one that just tells like a lot about where my mind is at the moment, and like it came about, you know, when I was in this, because of what I was wearing at Coachella. It was kind of like a disco ball exploded onto my tits. So that was the nickname for me for for the weekend. So and I thought it just felt like I was like, that's just a state of mind. It's great. It's that's, you know, I need to go in with that title in the studio, and we created that song like the week after that festival, and it just has kind of a, it's probably the happiest song I've ever written, I think. And I think that, I don't know, I was just excited to release it. I'm very impulsive that way. I kind of don't like think things through at all. So I just, this is what I'm going with. I trust my gut, and then I just do it.
I like that. I would say, you know, a lot of the conversation around the song has been, and the video, whether or not it is so explicit, if it's shocking, all these things.
Yeah.
Do you feel like some of that, you just like can't believe people are still raising their eyebrows at some of this stuff?
I feel like if you listen to my music, if it's the first time discovering me seeing that, I think people are like, what the, you know, what is going on? What is he doing? She's, you know, but I don't think that if you know me and you've known my music, you don't get shocked. You just hopefully get excited.
Do you ever feel like there's a level of people being shocked because you're also a woman who is singing these lyrics? I mean, these are themes that a lot of male artists in rap, R&B, really every genre have covered for a long time.
I mean, I know that it's, and you're very right about that, that it's definitely a difference. And like, I have to kind of, I end up sort of finding myself like, am I defending myself right now? Like, why do I have to explain myself about this? You know, because it's, no one questions a man singing about those things. No one would ever, you know, ask those questions to a male artist. Because I check in with my male artist friends, like, you know, here are some questions I got today. Like, do you ever like get these? And like, what even is this? Like, no, like, didn't have a right to question your lyrics, you know. But I think it's interesting too, because I don't mind getting the questions. I think it's like I don't mind explaining a little bit behind why I write and express myself the way I do, but I don't. I like it more when it's a curiosity than an accusation, if that makes sense.
Would you say, has it felt like there has been a cultural shift in the last several years where people are more like looking for a little bit more of a raw topic from pop stars or in their music and lyrically?
I definitely think so. I feel just a huge difference from Queen of the Clouds to Ladywood. That there was a lot more like encouragement for that kind of message, or that kind of like directness and honesty in the music. And I think, but you know, I just try to remember, like, well, for me, it's like the music I used to listen to when I was growing up was like the music that I connected to was the songs that were just like telling the truth. And it didn't mean it always had to be sad or dark, but it would have just like a meaning to it that, you know, wasn't edited or altered just to not upset people or adapt after as many people as possible. And I think, you know, there's a need for that, because we can polish and fix and filter everything. So yeah, I think, you know, it does add something extra when it's just like people are just upfront with you.
Sure,
you know?
sure. When we first discussed Ladywood a couple of years ago, it was, you know, this is a term for sort of female arousal that you went searching and you realized there wasn't one. Where and when did you come up with Blue Lips? It's sort of, as you said, for blue balls, but for women.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a nod to Ladywood, obviously, and kind of, and still playing on the theme of like kind of never being satisfied, just always chasing that rush and always needing more, you know. And I think, because if Ladywood was that, you know, was about those emotions, I feel like Blue Lips is that even to a more extreme. Just, it's like more dramatic and chaotic, but in a thought out way. So I think on a deeper sense is that, but then I just also thought it's a cheeky, fun wink. You know, I like always the different layers of that.
I was going to say, you just mentioned stuff there, but I would say the overarching theme of the record to me is just sort of like a hunt for satisfaction.
Yeah,
You know? And not just sexually, but sort of across a bunch of boards of emotions.
Exactly.
Is that representative of you? Or are you sort of always looking, always searching?
Yeah, I think so. I always like to push myself out of my comfort zone. Not meaning sexually right now, even though I obviously experiment, but I don't think, yeah, because of, you know, kind of how I grew up very safe. I grew up with, you know, roof over my head and loving parents and, you know, my own room. Like I was, you know, I could eat food every day. So all my needs were met. So it was more like, but I would always get into a lot of trouble just on my own, like doing, because I needed something more to make me feel alive. I needed to feel like I was, and I think that goes for a lot of people that have grown up with everything that we need. We're looking for something else, you know. We're never. Everything has to grow in a way, and so I think, and I've always been very like, you know, a sucker for the like passion, romance, the intensity of that, and then that usually always explodes because it's when it is that intense, it's hard to make it last, you know.
We spent the
Never learn. Yeah.
You spent the majority of this year on tour. I wonder if sort of revisiting Ladywood constantly and sort of having to relive those emotions, if it changed your approach to this record or what you want to put on it, or maybe even the sounds on the record.
I think that's a very good point. I think I definitely singing all the songs, and I think that's probably why I needed to like write some new songs where I'm like, you know what, I want to add some of the actual like the happiness that I feel right now. You know, I wanted to add that in as well. And also Ladywood to me was sonically very put together and very like thought through. You know, every song goes into the next and it has a more of a controlled sound to it, whereas Blue Lips, I experiment way more, like have, you know, my first ballads on there, and it's kind of like different styles within pop that I haven't really tried before, and I like vocally, I challenged myself too, and I think because of, in a positive way, it was like, okay, well, how do I want to play with this, you know, and I think when I listened to what I already had, that was, you know, the finished phase 2, I felt like, no, I can do better.
I like that. You obviously, I mean, between opening for Coldplay, festivals, your own headlining tour,
Yeah.
when were you even finding time to write? Do you do it from the road, or do you need to have spare time at home?
I have like a small studio set up that I bring with me, but I usually find time like, okay, I have, you know, a week off here, we're in Europe, I'll go to Stockholm and we'll record, you know, be in the studio day and night, and then I have, you know, a week off in LA, I can go to the studio there. So it was a very intense process, and I kind of can't believe that it's like, I can't believe that I just finished tour and that now it's coming out and we're here. You know, it's kind of surreal, but
right.
Awesome.
I like that. Something that I just keep looking at is you've got a ring on your finger that went missing at some point this year.
My grandmother's ring.
So this was sort of fell off your hand, was taken off your hand in the middle of the show. How did you get it back?
Well, it was at ACL in Austin, and I was like jumping out in the crowd, and I just feel like, oh damn it, not again! Like someone just pulled it off my finger, and I just went, that was grandma's ring. Like my aunt's gonna kill me. So I just wrote on Twitter. I was like, hey, whoever took it, please, I want it back. And this really sweet girl wrote me. She's like, oh, I have it, and. And Courtney, who works with me, were trying to reach out to her, and she's like, I don't know if you actually work with her. And I was like, hey, she does work with me. I'm here too. Sorry, like, can you send it to me? And she remade my Cool Girl single cover. So she's like sitting in front of one of those like window covers, like she made her own, like I have a t-shirt that says animal on it. She's like wearing the same t-shirt, eating a donut with the ring on. And I'm like, it's so cute. Yeah. But I got it back. She posted it, and yeah. Here it is.
You probably get a lot of presents and mail from your fans. Like, what is like maybe the coolest thing that somebody's given you or made for you?
I think, honestly, I mean, a lot of it goes to like my parents' house in Stockholm. Okay. And I've like moved around so many times now, so I hope like most.
Are they ever worried about what shows up at their door?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, but I think honestly, there's so many like great, you know, people made me jackets and T-shirts and jewelry, and it's amazing. I think the one thing that like felt really special to me was this Swedish author. He made this book called Snoppen och Snippan, which is, how do I explain this? It's basically like a cartoon to like kind of get rid of the drama around your like genitals as a kid. So it's like giving them kind of like fun names that aren't like doesn't mean really anything. And there's like the dick and the vagina is going on like a crusade together and like creating a new story. We're like, why does the princess always have to be saved? Why don't we save the prince this time? And then like kind of questioning gender roles.
Oh,
like,
I love
but
that.
It's like little drawings of like just mini genitals walking around in like Viking outfits, and it's like bizarre but really funny. And he like wrote that book in my honor, kind of, which I thought was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about how your music is so vulnerable and you are sort of willing to talk about everything. And a lot of that is why your fans are so devoted to you, because like they know about those moments, they relate to the moments in their life.
They're the best.
Is there a pressure that sort of comes along with people knowing all of that sort of intimate fare about your life?
I think, no, I kind of, the way that it works for me, and I've thought about this because I was like, there should be a level where I feel like, well, this is just, like, I could just give you my journal and that would be the same, you know. But I think the way that I process everything that, I'm a very like open book emotionally, like you will always know how I feel. It's very hard to like, for me to, I'm really bad at hiding it. And so in a way, the way that I write is like, this is what I have to say or get off my chest, or like what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and I'll write a song about it. And once I've written it and recorded it and it's done, I've worked through it. That was my process. So once it's released, I'm kind of like, oh, I've worked through this now. Like so it doesn't feel as intense to share as if someone would like maybe walk in the room in the middle of the process, like, tell me what this is about. And I'll be like, this is too soon for you to know. But also, you know, people can relate because everyone goes through heartbreak or loneliness or, you know, feeling upside down. It's, yeah.
Was there an artist when you were growing up where it was the first time that you sort of connected with somebody doing that, and that's sort of like led the groundwork for this?
I think, yes, I mean, I was a big fan of like Robin for a long time. And I think what she did a lot that I love, what she does a lot is, you know, she will make songs that makes you want to just like dance your tears away too. Like she can explain that, like Dancing on My Own, for example, is like the best example of that. Like you just
crying
like
in the club.
Yeah, you know, crying in the club. Yeah, which is not something you want to do, but it happens.
I love that. I do think we should talk about some of the videos that have come out in the most recent years. We've gotten, you know, the long form videos from the last album, and I'm curious if you're planning to do something like that with this record for the 2 chapters.
I am doing like a longer piece. It's going to be in a little bit of a different way. Okay. But there will definitely be like there will be like a visual art piece to this album as well. Yeah, for sure.
When did you start realizing that that was like an important part of your creative expression? Like that it didn't end with music. It sort of started another thing.
I think it was like, that was one of the things I felt when I started writing Ladywood, was that, okay, Queen of the Clouds was musically I've always felt very clear on what I've wanted, and that this is very clear to me that this is what the album is supposed to be. But visually, I felt like I haven't created that world in the same way yet. So I really wanted to do that for Ladywood, and I think I just love always being able to, like, you know, get deeper into the story or like show all the different layers of the song. So when I worked really closely with Tim Aram, who's my creative director, and we just, you know, he just said, like, just send me monologues of, like, you know, thoughts that you feel like is out of line, but it's still something that, you know, people think and feel and go through. And so I did that, and that was the sort of, those monologues in both the films are like the starter for how we then like develop them. And also realized that I thought it was really fun to act. So it was kind of like, well, I'm going to keep doing this now just so I get to act, so that I can. But it's been like a bit, you know, taking a lot of, like, you know, big investment for me. Like, it's been, you know, my passion project, really. And it's something I want to keep doing as much as I can.
I'm sure a lot of people wonder, does she want to act in things that she didn't write? Do you want to, like, branch into movies? Are you interested in TV?
I mean, I feel like I would love to try that. You know, I don't know if that would be any good at it, but I think it's something that would be fun, but it's not something I'm going to chase. You know, someone comes to me like, hey, do you want to be in this movie? I'd be like, sure, if you want me. But I don't, I'm not like pursuing it that way. But I know, like, if it's something I would feel passionate about, I would give it, you know, everything I got, because this is how I do it.
Along with your own music in recent years, we've heard you with a lot of other artists, Coldplay, Nick Jonas, Alesso. Is there something about branching out into other people's genres or the way they work that has then made you give up your own genres a little bit more to explore more things?
I think so, for sure. Like, because you kind of, but I also feel like it's the climate now, like musically, like there's no rules for, like, I think all genres are kind of just like melting in together, and you sample and you borrow and you feature on each other, and it's just like a whole mix of everything, which I think is really fun. I like that there's like no rules of what a song has to be. So, but definitely, like, you know, just seeing also how other people work. Because I was a writer before, and I love that, you know, being in a room with people, and everyone's so different, has their own really weird way of doing things. And I just love, like, studying people's processes, and, like, you know, and people be like, you write so weirdly. And I'm like, you write so weirdly. But then it turns into a song. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
It works out.
That's all we've got from me. We're actually going to take a few questions from the audience.
Yay.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, congrats on Blue Lips.
Thank you.
So my question is, of all the songs you've written, which one do you feel most connected to or has the most significance to you, and why?
There's so many. Okay. I mean, it's hard to say another song. I think still, you know, like, if I think about all of them, Habits is the one that kind of, it changed my life, you know. It, like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can just be myself, and people relate to it and, like, feel the same. And it's for me, it was a song that was with me for so long, and it just, yeah, it still is going to be that one song for me, I think. Yeah.
That's great. And then we've got one back here.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi. So as someone who started as a songwriter for other artists, how does it feel writing your own songs and singing them?
Very freeing, honestly. Like, I love writing for others. It's really fun, and it's a very, like, challenging and, like, interesting and kind of, like, more playful thing to get to do. But the whole reason why I decided to release stuff of my own was because, like, I want something out there that is just my voice. I don't need to change it. I can do whatever I want with it. And it's a very, like, freeing feeling. I feel very lucky to be able to have, like, you know, a place where I can just express myself exactly the way I want to. So, yeah.
And then I think, yep, over here.
Hi. What was the inspiration behind the Disco Tits video?
The inspiration was, I mean, it started actually as, it was Tim that came to me and was like, you know, what if we do a video where, like, you know, you're on this, like, you go on this escape with this character who, you know, you run away together. It's kind of like, you know, you get fucked up together, you do all these things. And I was like, well, that's what we've been doing now for a while. And it's like, oh no, but with a puppet. And I was like, that is great. I just saw it right away in my head. And I just thought, you know, the deeper meaning also, you know, of course, being that, like, kind of being in and out of control in a relationship, and, you know, kind of how when you're into someone, you tend to just, like, go with it, you know. It's like everything, no matter how, like, stupid it might be, just seems great with this other person. So that's what it represents. But I also just thought it was a really fun, bizarre idea to a very cheeky kind of, you know, provocative song. So, yeah, I didn't expect it to be as, like, it was really, really uncomfortable at times, like, the acting side of it, but it was so fun. Like, the puppeteer, whose name is Tobin, did a great job at, like, you know, guiding me through it. Like, don't look at me, I'm hiding on the floor. Like, look at the puppet.
The puppeteer.
No, I mean, there's 3 of them. So there's him who's in the puppet, like, in the actual face, and there's one guy who controls the hands, and then, you know, when we do that dancing scene, like, there's another person, like, controlling the legs. So, and they're all in these, like, black ninja suits, like, and I have to kind of ignore them and still try and be, like, dance sexy with him. And you just, yeah, it was, like, took a while to create the chemistry, but I think it worked out in the end.
That's awesome. Right here.
How do concert venues affect the way you do your concerts?
Oh, good question. I think, to me, it depends on, like, especially the size. I think, you know, I can feel a little bit detached if I'm too far away from the crowd. Like, I like when it's close and you can feel the energy. Like, I feed off the audience a lot. So that's why I always, like, if, you know, at festivals sometimes it can be a little bit too far away, and I'm like, can't reach you. So I need to at least run down once or twice to kind of say hi and be in it. But there's also, you know, something very, very powerful about, you know, a huge space, and it just, you know, you look out to a sea of people who all are, like, you know, waving their hands with you. It's an amazing feeling. But the only thing that I can, like, get to me sometimes is when you're on stage, you know, you have the in-ears and you feel like, you know, sometimes you need to just pull them out to just feel that live connection, because it can get a little, like, shut off when you have those on. Even though it's better for your ears and all that stuff, it's sometimes just can kill the vibe. So I usually have one, like, little loose out just to make sure I hear you guys when you're singing along. Yeah.
And then we've got one more.
Do you plan on working on anything new with Flume?
I do. No, but yeah, we're in touch a lot, and I think I would love to get in the studio with him again. So he's great. Yeah, let's all cross our fingers.
That's awesome. That's all we have today. Congratulations. Blue Lips is out tomorrow. You guys can pick it up everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.